The flame wheel is coming along nicely. I did get the bullet connectors. That one came off. I've got to redo that one. I did get the bullet connectors put on the ESCs. I got the ESCs soldered to the bottom board. Got the flight controller soldered to the bottom board here, and here's the battery connector. Put the bottom screws through the bottom plate. I did connect all of these except for the one that gave me a little trouble there. Put a little tie wrap on the ESC under the arm to hold it up till I can check the direction of the motors. I won't put any shrink wrap or anything on these. Of course, I can't let them touch when there's power on the unit. So basically all that's in here right now is the flight controller, H743 wing. It's hooked up to 6 ESCs with servo 1 through 6 right down through here. It's got the little daughter board on it for programming and stuff. We'll put that right there. It's got the GPS connected to it, M8Q can. I'm not using a airspeed sensor on this. It's got the little Crossfire Nano connected to it. It's got a Josh Bardwell Phoenix 2 camera connected to it, and it's got a video transmitter connected to it. I've got to get my connector for the telemetry radio and run a connector from the telemetry radio to UART7 right here, and that's it. I'm going to put on the LEDs and stuff later, landing gear and such. So this is basically day 2, and I'm not far from being finished. I'm going to screw the top plate on with like one screw. These arms are just kind of flimsy when only one plate is screwed in. I'm just going to do that right now so I can finish up straightening out this bullet connector problem here, and then check my motor directions, and then we'll probably pull the top plate back off, do some mounting of hardware, and then we'll be about ready to fly. This is getting really close. And there it is with the top plate on. Now there's 4 screws per arm in the top plate. I just put one in. That gives it a little rigidity. You can see now I can pick up the whole thing with one arm and move it around. It doesn't flex like it was on one plate. So now I can take it back over to where I solder and fix this bullet connector part. Then I will find my props, do my motor direction, and then I'll put shrink wrap on the bullet connectors, and then really all I have to do is like mount the RC receiver, GPS, camera, video transmitter, and the little telemetry radio up, and that's really it. Everything else is just software tuning. And I'll probably try the same parameters that I was flying when this thing crashed, which by the way was October 4th of 2015. This hasn't flown in over 5 years. And I did find out the reason it crashed on October 4th was I was trying to use it to blow a wing of a foam airplane out of the top of a tree and accidentally touched the tree and got hung up in the tree. Then my brother and I, one of the best things my brother ever did for me, for 2 days, might have been 3, in the rain, we tried to get that flame wheel out of that tree. It was pure terror. I don't know how he stayed out of work. I didn't have a penny to give him compensation, but I will always know that's the best thing he ever did for me, is hang out with me there and finally get it out of the tree after 2 or 3 days. So we're close to flying this thing again. It's 11:57 p.m. on June the 4th, 2021. It's alive.
It's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive.
All the motor directions are correct. I'm going to do the shrink wrap on the motor wires right here. And then we're going to mount the hardware, and then we'll do some software. That's about it. It's really getting close. I had forgotten how big this bad boy is. From the tip of that propeller to the tip of that propeller is about 37 inches. Just a little over 3 feet. Well, there it is. I did the shrink wrap on the motor wires after I got their rotation direction correct. That's it. I'll take the top plate back off and mount up all that hardware, and then we'll start some software tuning and fly it. So while I was making up the video for what I'd done on the second day up to here, I went over and started working on the thing while the video rendered and stuff, and ended up basically sort of finishing it. So what I did here is I started just mounting stuff. We'll move this out of the way first. I'll try to show you these things as they go. So the little RC receiver, I ended up taking the cable that I had on it off and just using a regular RC cable. Just a little pigtail like this. 3 conductor, ground voltage, and I'm running S-bus. So this is all I need, was three wires, battery charged. And I ran it over to right here, and I just put the little nano receiver on some double-sided tape, and then I put some hot glue on top of it. I don't think there'll be any problem with that. And there you can see the connector, ground voltage and S-bus. That's it. I'm just going to let this antenna hang out here. That's a 20-kilometer receiver and transmitter, supposedly. It's not going to suck up into the props. I'll just orient my antenna on my transmitter horizontally instead of vertically and let it hang out. It's going to be line of sight on a 20-kilometer setup, so just not going to worry about that much. Right here is the telemetry radio. I remembered I had the cable for it in the box with them, and I all these cables I'd made up previously, I just left them along. So I ran it over here to the telemetry radio. Again, double-sided tape, and then I put this tie wrap across it just for, it's kind of like safety wire when I was in the military. And then I took the top plate and mounted the video transmitter antenna in the little slot in the top plate because it was there and able to. And again, I took double-sided tape and put on the other side of this and just put a tie wrap on it. And there's my video transmitter. Oops. Now I have my camera and my GPS and compass sticking through the top plate so that I can just kind of mount it on the top plate for now. What else did I miss? Got the RC receiver, telemetry, video, camera, and GPS. That's it. Almost everything is mounted, and I will just get the top plate closed up and I'll just hot glue the camera on the top plate and put some double-sided tape on the GPS and see what happens. It shouldn't be that bad. I don't know if I have a GPS mast around here or not, or if I have to order one. Okay, I ended up putting the daughter board right here where I can plug in, get to the switch for the piezo buzzer and the DFU. Just the wire goes under here and down to the flight controller. There's the video transmitter, as I said it would be. There's the RC receiver. There's the telemetry radio. GPS, I just put right there. I'm not sure that's going to work at all. It'll let me test it. And I just hot glued the camera on the front. It's not the most elegant build I've ever made, but there we go. So that's the physical build done. It's not the best, but it's not the worst either. So now we start software tuning, camera setup, etc., getting it all just like I want it. And that's a big old battery on top of it. It's a 5800 4S. Yep, 4S. 5800 4S. That's the last thing I have to make sure I can mount. And that'll be pretty easy. So, tuning, software tuning, flight controller tuning, camera tuning, everything tuning, making sure I can do the video transmitter powers and stuff through the flight controller, and as such, a lot left to do as far as software and flight controller setup. It's not only alive, it's flying. Well, that's basically the end of the build. And everything now is just software tuning, etc. And I'm going to go back and change the camera a little bit. I'm probably going to have to change the GPS. I'm looking at the GPS masts right now on the internet. All right, guys, I will show you my software tuning for the flight controller and stuff in other videos. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great one.